Hey Nate, so I just had an amazing game with a longtime opponent I faced a bunch in 100 card singleton. I decided that I wanted to not only play it for you, but I can actually narrate it using my microphone. Hopefully the audio sounds good. I don't know if you played this guy before, but I played him a ton in 100 card singleton in the past, and he's always given me a pretty solid challenge. He can be a bit of a dick. He's done a bunch of quitting during tense games because I'm thinking things through and he decides that I'm taking too long, but I still like to play him when I see him on just because I know it can be a pretty tough challenge. So here we go. Just hoping this replay doesn't fuck up like the last one. So he's got Azusa, I've got Sliver Queen, and I have an awesome draw. Unfortunately I'm going second, but at least he mulligans. So he leads with Slippery Karst, and of course seeing that you just immediately think, okay, I'm gonna wasteland it because that's not the kind of land that a mono green deck should be leading with if they've got a lot of lands. So I just kill it. Hopefully he's only got like one more land. And he kind of confirms my suspicions by playing Tranquil Thicket. So I draw Imperial Seal, and I'm thinking like maybe I should go get Strip Mine, given how weak he is on land. And then I have like the alternate chance to go in Enlightened Tutor to go get Crucible to like lock the whole thing up. Unfortunately, I don't have a land that can give me both black and white. Like I don't have the ability to tutor for a Scrubland, so I decided to just hold off on that and just go for Sylvan Library instead. So I play the top. I have to get a Tropical Island. And he does, in fact, have a poor land draw playing Scrying Sheet second. So I think that's all for his mana. But unfortunately, he has Sylvan Library too, which as you know is death if we have to face it. But at least I have one of my own, and I pray here he doesn't have a way to disenchant it. So now I'm very concerned, figuring he can play Azusa and probably play like one or two more land, and Sylvan plus Azusa is going to get out of control really fast. So I'm already not liking my chances very much, but at least I've got Forbid Sylvan to kind of stave off the damage while I ramp up, and I can Imperial Seal to get the Sylvan Library off the table before it does too much damage. But he casts Cultivate, which fucking sucks. So now he's got 4 land in play to my 2. And this is like the first of the really... Like, I feel like we're in relative parity here, but then this happens. Staff, Chancery, Mystical Tutor. Like, I get no third land, so the Forbid plan's gone, which totally sucks. So I have tons of different choices here. Obviously, I take the 8 damage. And I have no source of black either, and I don't really have a source of white. So I decide that I need to stop the next play here. So I think I decide to Mystical Tutor to scroll for Force of Will. Actually, no, I don't think I do that. I think I keep that as a backup plan with Mystical Tutor. Let's see. Oh, and that's right. I regrow land. Put the Tarn out, so at least I've got some more colored mana. And now I've got Imperial Seal. And I don't actually recall what I got. Actually, I guess I can I look? Nope, I can't. I think I got Force of Will. In fact, I'm nearly certain I do get Force of Will here. Figuring that if he has a really devastating turn 5 play, I want to be able to stop it. And plus it keeps the Azusa out of play. Can slow him down a great deal if he taps out, or taps most of his mana to cast Azusa. Sure enough, he takes another 8, and he casts Azusa. Yeah, so I've got Force of Will on top here. And I force it with my Forbid, which is not too useful. And I figured that'll slow him down a ton, given that he was probably counting on playing the lands that he drew. So I'm hoping right here that he's going to play a land and just say done and discard twice, which was kind of the reason why I did it. Unfortunately, he's drawn Mana Crypt, which totally fucks up the whole plan. And he casts Sword of Feast or Famine, which is horrendous too because it's going to interfere with Winter Orb plans, which is how you usually beat Azusa decks, because they just mana ramp up into a million lands and you just orb them, and they get a bunch of tap land that they can't do anything with. So here's like another unbelievable shit turn. Look at this. I get no land again. And so now I can't even... Because my plan here obviously was to go Merchant Scroll into Mana Drain, and then just sit back, take something big that he played, put out the Staff, protect it with Mystical Tutor and Divining Top, and just coast. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. So I've got to go with the backup plan of... Well, I take my 8... play my Chromatic Lantern. So now my plan, of course, is to go in Mystical Tutor for Quiet Spec to get the library and the Mana Crypt off the board. And things are about to get a whole lot worse here. So here he makes a mistake. He doesn't take extra damage. I have no idea why. Because I think, against a controlled player, you should be doing it constantly. But he plays another Azusa. Vomits a bunch of land onto the table. And casts Borderland Ranger, which I think is a misplay. But, of course, I don't know his hand at the time. Maybe the top of his Sylvan was just more lands, and he figured that he'd just draw them the next turn. And he wanted to reshuffle rather than taking the damage. I've done that before, actually, so it's not like a totally ridiculous thing. Sometimes if there's redundant cards in the library, there's no reason to pay the life then when you can reshuffle. So, yeah, I go get Quiet Spec, figuring I can kill his two most primary threats here. And I get 2 artifacts off the top of the library. And I take the damage again. Just getting a little dicey here. Not sure what I'm thinking about right now. What is it asking me to click 2 mana for? Oh, fuck. Well, maybe not. No. What the hell's going on with the replay? Like, ages are passing on the timer. God damn it. It's bugged. Oh. God, this was such an awesome game. And it went really long, too. That sucks. Well, you can see my comment on the right there. This is much later. Because on his next turn here, if I remember correctly, I Quiet Spec and I kill the Sylvan Library with Ray of Erasure. And I keep 1 green mana untapped to kill the sword. And he untaps and he plays a land, a couple more land. He casts Stratascythe with 7 forests in play, and he casts Sword of Fire and Ice, and he equips all 3 onto his Azusa and attacks me with it. And of course, it's like dealing 12 or 13 damage at that point, so I have to kill the Stratascythe, even though it's got 2 swords on it, which is a total nightmare. And I feel like the game is lost at that point, but it's not, because I untap, and I've got... God, I don't even think I drew Grim Monolith and Mana Vault there. I think I drew those much later. In fact, I'm positive I did. So the replay's already fucked up. But anyway, what happened was I Yawgmoth's Willed on my next turn, and I put the Wasteland into play, and that's where he said, and I was thinking for a long time about what to do next, and that's why he says tutor to me. And I told him to shut up, because I was thinking about what I wanted to do. And ultimately, I wound up regrowing Force of Will. I'm at 2 life, by the way. After I take the hit from Azusa and the Borderland Ranger, I'm at 2. So I regrow Force of Will, and I Mystical Tutor, leaving... And I have 2 mana untapped, I think, at this point. And I put Terminus on top with my top out. And on his turn, he just attacks with the double-equipped Azusa, which would kill me. And I flip the top and Terminus all of his 2 guys. And then he plays like Horn of Greed, draws a card, and casts some obnoxious thing that I have to Force a Will. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I drop to 1. But at least he's tapped out. And then on my next turn, I'm able to get Shackles into play. And he makes a huge mistake where he casts a Llanowar Elf, but he only puts the Sword of Fire and Ice on it instead of both of his swords, which gives me enough mana to put out Shackles and steal the elf. And so I don't have to deal with the elf, which is amazing. And then he does something else, and oh, that's right, he taps out and he casts a huge Genesis Wave for like 13. And I have Mana Drain, which is freaking amazing, because that's right, I saw Jace off the Sylvan, so I put out Jace and drew Mana Drain off of it. I Mana Drain this insanely gigantic Genesis Wave, and I untap, and the Sylvan delivers Stroke of Genius. So I stroke up for like 13 cards, play a bunch of mana, put out Winter Orb, I've stripped mine out. I strip mine his land, and then I Enlightened Tutor for Crucible, and completely locked the game up. And then a little while later, I put out. Oh, that's right. I had to Wargate. I Wargated out Jace, and then I put out Karn, and I have him like completely in a lock where I'm basically stripping the land that he untaps, and I'm stripping the land. Yeah, I dealt with the Mana Crypt also somewhere in there. Oh, that's right, with Vindicate. I killed it with Vindicate, and then I strip mine the land he untaps, Karn away whatever card he draws, and I put out Sliver Queen and just beat him to death with it and win the game. But unfortunately, the replay doesn't work. Arg. It sucks. Anyway, it was an awesome game. I wish you could have seen it. I'm going to try to replay this one more time to see if it bugs out again, but we'll see. Anyway, that's it for now.